Well, welcome, AmeriCorps members. Thank you so much for taking the time today. So we are going to jump right into this monthly training with our guests from Springfield Public Schools. And what I will do, I'll let Elise, will you like to introduce, will it just be yourself today?
I think Joanne is, I can't tell if the Joanne on
Yep,
here is.
I'm here.
Hi, Joanne. Joanne is also presenting.
Wonderful. I'm going to give you access to share your screen.
Thank you.
You are all set to present.
Awesome. So that intro is actually helpful. How many, and it might actually make sense for you to answer this so that we don't get a bunch of shout outs. How many folks here are working with Springfield Public Schools? Okay, I see some hands.
Maybe
Right.
some thumbs up on the emojis. Yep.
So the majority, it sounds like I think you indicated that. Okay. And how many have like laptops and accounts and have already accessed? Great. Okay. So if you have an SPS laptop and account, it will be more interesting if you log in and try to look through and go along with us as we're looking through some of the data and functions that we're going to be covering today. So that said, I'm going to share my screen. All right, do you all see a big white screen that says Introduction to the SBS Data Warehouse and Power School? Great. All right, so I'm going to cover the SBS Data Warehouse and then Joanne's going to follow up later with some Power School. So I'll take about 20 minutes and then we'll give a short break and then we'll finish off with Power School and then any questions. So what is the SPS Data Warehouse? It is a place where you can access data on your students from multiple sources. The main one's Power School, but we also have assessment data from multiple different types of assessments, including MCAS. We get data from Schoology and then some other kind of random places so that you don't have to go to all these different systems to get information on your students to answer questions like, who are my students? What's their performance history? What's their attendance and discipline history? Things like that. So we're going to start off by looking at how to access the data warehouse. And before we do that, I'm going to give a little caveat, and that is that the place we're going to go to access this data is called Cognos. And it is actually, this is the last year we'll be doing it through here, but it is where so it's going to start transitioning to something called Power BI. But for now, this is where you would go. So how do you get there? Under My SPS, which is sort of the landing page for your browser, you go to Applications and then scroll down to the Data and Assessments section. And then there's this little cylinder icon that says SPS Data Warehouse. You click on that and it opens up a login screen that looks like this. And then you use your usual SPS user ID and password that you've already got. And you click OK. And then you should hopefully see a screen that looks something like this. I'll keep going, but hopefully you all can try to get in there. If you can't, try it out maybe another time. So the landing page kind of gives us two sections. There's a dashboard sections and SPS reports section. I'm going to kind of cover those different types of reports that we have. But I do want to, before that, say that some of you might have a screen that looks not like this welcome page. Instead, it just has two tabs of My Folders and a Public Folders. If that's the case, there's this little link that says click here for new welcome portal page. And then you click a little icon with a plus sign on it, and then we'll add it to your tabs so that you do have a welcome tab. And I probably should have said this at the beginning in case you're not following along. This whole presentation will be shared. So if you need to do that, you can follow these steps later so that when you log in, you have that welcome page. Okay, so assuming you get there, which you will eventually, in the dashboard section, we have an administrator dashboard, what you should see is an administrator, a student, and a teacher dashboard. We're going to start off with the student dashboard, which is going to be most likely the most helpful tool that I will show you today. It allows you to look up any student that you have access to, which I think for most of you is your whole school. and a bunch of stuff about them. So the way you can search for them is click on that student link. You can either enter their ID, their first name, their last first name. It will bring up all the students that match that criteria. You click on that student's name and it will pull up their dashboard. So what is on here? On the top left, you have some basic information about them, their age, their primary language, their home phone number, their special education status, their EL level, things like that. Then moving down below that, we have some attendance and discipline summary data. This can be helpful, especially if you might have students who have been with the district for a while. This little table here will go back as long as they've been with SPS. So you can sort of get a sense of the students' attendance trends for while they've been with us. And you can see maybe if they've been absent a lot, is this unusual? Is this typical for them? Or maybe something different is going on. This is your first kind of clue to get a sense of that. Below that, you can see a really close-up view of their most recent history. What have been their most recent attendance events? Like, have they been tardy? Have they been dismissed? Have they had unexcused absences for the last 5 days? That would show up right here. But if you want even more detail, you can click on this View Attendance History link, and that will give you every single attendance event that's been recorded for that student forever, as well as any notes that might have been entered. So, mom called, they were out sick, or they went on vacation, or they had surgery. That would all be indicated in those comments that you can get from attendance history. Student transcript. This will give you all of the students' course grades for marking periods 1, 2, 3, 4. And if they're a secondary student, it will include their final grades for all of their courses for as long as they've been with SPS. So again, giving you a sense of trends in terms of course grades, and you can get a better picture of their history. Above, now moving to the right, we can see their assessment history. So the top table is going to show MCAS, all of their MCAS scores for obviously only MCAS tested grades and subjects. We do have preliminary MCAS in there right now. And if it's a high school student, we'll also show if they've met the competency determination. So if they passed MCAS and are eligible to graduate based on that. Below that, we have additional assessments. These are mostly internal assessments. Like we used to have ANET, we still have ANET at the high school level. iReady is in here, so all of their iReady diagnostics would show up in here. Elementary students take a reading group placement assessment. Those would show up in there. So again, it goes back as long as they've been with us. You can, as you scroll down, you can get a sense of how they've been performing on all these different assessments while they've been with us. And then below that is a section called Student Support. This will show any interventions that have been recorded in PowerSchool, and also any communications with family that have been recorded in PowerSchool. The table you see here is kind of a very high level, what was the date and which staff called. But if you want to see more detail, you can click either on the date next to that communication or intervention, or this link here that says View All Student Support Details. It'll give you a more detailed list of all of those pieces of data, again, recorded in PowerSchool. And finally, below that, there's a school assignments, which is not particularly interesting right now because everybody's assignment is where they are, so that's not going to be a surprise. But in the spring, when new assignments are made, especially for 5th graders going to middle school or 8th graders going to high school, their next year assignment would display here once those assignments are made. And I forgot to say that actually you can't see it on the screen, but there's also an enrollment history table, so you can see all the schools they've attended and when. So one thing it would show is if a student has moved around a lot, or if they're recently transferred to the school, or recently, if they maybe were out of the district and came back a couple of years later, you'd be able to see that information on that page as well. So that is our student dashboard. Again, probably one of the more helpful reports we have in here. And if you need to print it, there is a view printable link up here that will allow you to get a PDF of all this information and print it out in case you're having, for instance, a conference with a parent and want to be able to give it to them. Another dashboard we have is called the administrator dashboard. This provides some high-level data on the school. For instance, it has a lot of attendance data. So you can see this line graph that would be able to show how is your school's attendance trending this year compared with last year, based on 5-day periods. It also has the current year and last year to date attendance rates. So this is giving the 5-day period line graph, but this is just a cumulative, what's the attendance rate so far. It also would show the chronic absence rate. So what % of students are chronically absent, which is defined as having attendance rate of 90% or less. And what % of students are severely chronically absent, which is an attendance rate of 80% or less. And if you want to see the list of students and their attendance rates, you can click on View Student Attendance Details. It will give a list of all of the students in the school, their attendance rate, the number of days they've been enrolled, the number of days they've been absent. So if you need to, for instance, target some attendance interventions or just figure out which kids really haven't been coming for a period of time and maybe need extra support or calls home, this is one place to find who those students are. We also have some discipline summary data. How many suspensions have there been in the school this year compared with last year, for instance, or overall, how many disciplinary incidents have there been? You can find that there. And finally, we also have some data on marking period grades, how many students, what % of students have been getting A's, B's, C's, D's, and F's in English, math, science, and social studies. That's the administrator dashboard. Next, we're gonna look at the teacher dashboard. If you were a classroom teacher and you clicked on, again, this is coming from that, I thought there were fewer, this landing page, we looked at student, administrator. If you're a teacher and you clicked on teacher, you get a list of your current students grouped by the course you teach. If you're a elementary homeroom teacher, you'd have a bunch of sections with the same number of students. But what it provides is all the students in that course, and again, a bunch of data on those students all in one place. So you can see their grade level, their special education status, their EL level, their most recent MCAS scores, their most recent iReady reading and math scores and levels. I mentioned reading group placement. That's kind of giving a sense of where they are, which reading group they should be placed in, and if they're on track or not, and their most recent course grades. So this can be something that can be downloaded to Excel if this is something that a teacher is trying to work with and maybe identify students that need to be put into different groups or what have you. So that is the purpose of this. And if you are a school level user, which I believe all of you are, you would simply go in here and pick a lead teacher and it would give you all of those teacher students. And one other note is that while it's not on the screen, each student's name is blue and underlined. So you can click on that and it will open up their dashboard that we were just looking at. Those are the dashboards. Next, we're going to look at some reports, and these are designed to provide, while the dashboards give a bunch of different pieces of data in one place, these are more specific to a type of data or topic. So we have assessments, we have a bunch of attendance and enrollment reports, we have some grades and schedule reports, and a communication with family report. So we'll start off with the assessments. If you went into the assessments folder, you should see a report called SPS Assessments, which allows you to see the scores for students based on whichever assessment you're interested in. As an example, iReady, you might want to be able to see all the iReady scores for all the third, fourth, and fifth graders in your school. You could do that in here by selecting iReady under assessment type, selecting your school, and then the grade levels, clicking finish in this cycle, because it will give you all of the administrations that might have occurred during the year. And it will give you a list of the students and all of their iReady scores, which you can then download into Excel and manipulate if you want to, or just scroll through on the screen. Oh, apparently I have a screenshot that shows you that. So if you want to download to Excel, you click on this little icon up here that says HTML, go to view and Excel options, and then pick whichever option you want. I recommend the 2007 data. Otherwise, you get all of these pictures that you have to delete. So next we'll look at some attendance reports. So you go under SPS reports, click on the attendance enrollment folder. And we briefly mentioned this when I was talking about the student dashboard, but the attendance comments report, if you click right on that, pick a school year, pick the current school year. You can then either use it just as it is by hitting submit. You can pick a month, or you can search for a specific student, and then it will bring up all of the attendance events for that student during the year. So this is an example from a couple of years ago, what that looked like for a subset of students just for the first few days of school. As you can see, there was a lot of COVID a few years ago. So this is an example of what that report would look like for a subset of students at a certain school. And finally, we're going to look at the perfect attendance report. So again, attendance enrollment, click on the perfect attendance report link. This allows you to, say you want to see how many students have had perfect attendance for the first week and a half of school. You would put in whichever dates you're interested in this case, August 30th. I guess this is not quite the first week, but and then the beginning date and the end date. And then you can set how you want to define perfect attendance. So let's say it has to be you weren't absent, you weren't late, and you weren't dismissed early. You would select this bottom circle. And you can say display all students or only display those with perfect attendance. And then finally, you can determine whether you should include attendance from other schools. Like let's say they transferred from another school. Let's say you say, yes, we don't want to penalize students who had great attendance at another school. And you can decide whether or not you want to include the homeroom teacher, and it will bring up the list of students within those criteria that had perfect attendance. So maybe your school is going to determine some sort of strategy where students get a prize if they're not absent for 4 weeks or something like that. You could use this report to figure out who those students were, and if it's helpful, who those homeroom teachers are, so you can perhaps pass out whatever that prize might be. Oh, I forgot there's one more attendance report. So this is the unexcused absence action report. So this is a report that does get emailed every Friday to the principals of schools, as well as if there's an attendance specialist working in your school. This report run directly from the warehouse allows you to pick a date range. So let's say we picked whatever date range. In this case, it would be the August 30th to September 3rd. When we hit finish, it will pull up all of the students that within that date range accumulated a number of unexcused absences such that action is supposed to be taken according to the district attendance policy. So for example, what we see here are students who had their third unexcused absence during that week, which since it's the first week of school, that means they had 3 unexcused absences the first week. And according to the attendance policy, the school is supposed to mail a letter of concern to the parents and refer them to the adjustment or guidance counselor to personally communicate with the parent or guardian. As you can imagine, as the year goes on, there are additional actions that are meant to be taken. If you hit your 5th, 7th, 9th, and I think 13th, there are different actions that are supposed to be taken. This report allows you to pick a time period and identify all the students who have hit those milestones and therefore require these actions to be taken. But it also it shows who the students are and how many unexcused absences they've had, but it also shows what communications have already been logged. So you can tell, for instance, there's already been a lot of activity with this student the first week of school. There were phone calls, there were messages, actually a bunch of messages. So you can tell there's been some difficulty reaching this parent. And we include that in there so that you have a little bit more context and information when perhaps doing some outreach to this family. But if there was sometimes there's nothing here, so you can tell, especially if we've gotten to like day 7 or something and nothing's been logged, that would be important to know that maybe these parents haven't had any outreach yet. So that was attendance. There's a lot of reports on attendance in the data warehouse. So if you have any attendance questions, chances are you can find your answer in the data warehouse. But we have other data too. What we're going to look at right now is a report on course grades. So under the grades and schedules folder, we're going to look at a report called grades by course and student. So if you click on that, you select the school year you're interested in, which would most likely be the current or previous year. You select your school, and you could select a subject, EL status or SPED status, or you could leave those blank. And what it will pull up is all of the students in your school, some general information about them, and all of the grades they've received in those courses so far, or for the boxes you've checked, as well as the teacher who gave those courses. So let's say you want to see which students have received D's or F's in marking period 1. You could run this report, and it will automatically download to Excel, and you could use Excel to filter, say, I just want anybody who got a D or an F, or if you're in elementary school, it would be an E. This F count is actually counting how many F's they've gotten in the course. So you can see this student got 4 F's, this student got 2. So that's what that F count is doing. But you can, again, use Excel to sort of target it or manipulate it however you want. It also includes progress report grades. That's what the PRG is for 1, 2, and 3. Finally, we're going to look at some student support data. So in the student support folder, there is a communication with family, and I recommend the one with comments because it has more information. So if you click on that, what this allows you to see is for a year, you can see all of the students and all of the communications that have been logged for those students in PowerSchool, which I think Joanne might cover next, how to enter those. But it's kind of like the bigger picture of that unexcused absence action report. We were just zeroing in on one student. This allows you to see all the communications that have been logged in the school. You can filter it different ways. Maybe you want to see it for a certain grade level. Maybe you want to see just those that were phone calls. Maybe you want to see those that were home visits. Or maybe you want to see how many you personally have logged. If you've been making any communications yourself, you could filter this to the contacted by to say, be your name, and then you'd be able to see how many communications you personally have logged. So that is one way it has been used. And of course, it gives the details. There's a sort of text box in PowerSchool that allows you to write notes about exactly what meeting was about and what took place. So those are some of the reports that we have available in the data warehouse. That was a lot of information, but does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, I have one. So I was able to log into data warehouse, but my page looks nothing like yours.
Yeah. Does it look something like?
I have like nothing.
Yes.
Like I only see one folder that says like, hold on. It says school folders. And that's all I see.
You have you only see school folders, not public. Do you have one that looks like this that says public folders? Is there a tab that says public folders?
Yeah, and under that says school folders.
There's nothing that says click here for new welcome portal page?
No.
Ah,
Yeah,
that's not
That
helpful.
should be on the left.
on the left.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should look pretty similar to what you see here. So it would say public folders, but you only see
I see a question mark on the top, and it says go to welcome page. I'm able to go to the welcome page that way.
Oh,
But then it brings me to something different.
but it
says
doesn't bring you.
It says my home, condos, content, and my data set.
Yeah, no, you don't want that.
Yeah,
So under public folders, all you see is school folders, is what you're saying.
yeah.
Okay.
I
Is
don't know
it
if that's
Debbie?
normal, because like I just started, I don't know.
Well, this is good to know. I will follow up with you separately. Does anybody else have that same
Maybe
issue?
because I'm new or something.
Well, I think everybody, a lot of people are new.
Yeah,
There's a couple people in the chat, Elise, that are having the same
The
issue.
same issue?
okay.
Oh,
I have
that's-
3 people more in the chat.
That is troubling. Okay. So I'm gonna look into this, and is it Debbie? Do you go by Debbie? Can I use you as like the person that we reach out to, and if we
Yeah.
fix it for you, then
Yeah.
we'll reach out to everybody and just kind of send an email to
Yeah,
everyone
that's
saying try
fine.
now. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else? Okay. Joanne,
All right,
all
better
yours.
up.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Elise. Okay. Okay. Can everybody see the presentation now?
No.
No, if you're doing dual screens, you might have to switch it to a different screen.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, we see. Yeah.
All righty. Let me put it up in this one. Shoot, I just lost it. Okay.
Oh, we're looking. This is your web browser. If it's not working, Joanne, I can just pull it up.
I got it
That-
right here.
You got it? Okay.
Okay. So this is how to log into PowerSchool. I'm gonna let John move
Still si-
on with this.
I'm still seeing your browser only. You gotta change the screen you're sharing. Like we're looking at your other monitor.
All right, well then why don't you present? Because I'm having issues.
Yeah. Okay. It's fine. Okay. So everyone see my presentation here? Yeah. No?
No.
No,
Why is
Give me one moment. Let
Just
me
your
see what.
browser.
just the browser? Okay. Oh, I see why. I see why, Joanne. I think I know why it's. Hold on. Let's do this real quick. Okay. You guys see PowerPoint?
still showing Joanne's screen.
If
Oh.
you guys click the view options, you could click on John's screen to share.
Hold on, I'm doing it one more time. So John, you can now share.
There you go.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay. Awesome.
Thank you, Alicia.
So we're going to be going over just really the basic functions of PowerSchool, logging in, searching for students, making a selection, and what you can do with those students and what information you can view. So for the first things first, you usually want to use this method to open up PowerSchool. So you would go to the SPS website through this link. You're going to click on the staff menu, then click on the applications link, and then as pictured here, the PowerSchool link. The reason why you want to go through this method is because there are PowerSchool students and PowerSchool parents, and if you try to log into those screens, they're going to look exactly the same as this one here. The only key difference here is you want to make sure it says administrator sign in, or you'll be confused on why you cannot log in. This is the only difference on this screen here, and all your login and password credentials, they're all going to be provided through email. And as you get your account set up, you will see the following screens. So for the start page, you will see here in the top right, you will have the school that you're located at in the current year that you are viewing. And these really cover the scope of all the students and all the information you will view while in PowerSchool. This is kind of this is the start page, this is your foundation of what information you are looking for. And you can see right under the top right here in the middle of the screen is a student search, which we'll touch upon more. So when conducting a student search, you can search for individual or a group of students. You can search by grade level by clicking on the number right underneath the search bar, and that shows you all students within that grade level at that school in that year. When you're searching, you can search by last name or student ID. As you can see here, when you type in Doe, it types in everyone with, it shows you right underneath everyone with the last name Doe at that current school. And by clicking that plus sign there, you can add them to your selection, or just by clicking their name, you can just go right into that student's extra screens and extra information and just look at that student only. And when you are creating multiple searches, say you're doing work with different students, you definitely need to click clear all here, because these filters, say if I typed in Doe and I just pressed enter, it would only show me students with Doe. You want to clear out these filters by clicking the clear all button, so that way you can continue doing your searches as you keep navigating through PowerSchool. And when you do have your student selection, individual or group, you're going to have these important screens that Joanne will touch further upon. We have our contact information, which has information for the student, and contacts will have all the information for, whether they're family members that are associated with them, whether it be their grandfather, their grandparents, their mother, their father, their sister, their brother, whoever gave their information as a contact to the school, they'll be listed here. Quick lookup, historical grades, this will touch upon student grades, and discipline and student support plan are all about communication and supporting the student, which Joanne will touch upon now.
Alrighty, so when you log on to PowerSchool, the general demographics page is a nice page to start off with. On any page, the top screen, the top title is going to have these icons next to the title. The ones viewed here are medical and guardian. That means that the student has a medical issue that you probably should be aware of if you're going to take the child anywhere outside. We might have a bee allergy or something to that effect, maybe asthma. So even if you're walking with the student, around the school, it might be something you need to be aware of. Guardian alert would be a similar thing. There might be restraining orders. There might be the student lives with mom and, dad's not able to see the student. Things like that. The other icon is next to the student name. It sort of looks like when you go on asking for addresses and such, when you are looking for something, you know, you have that little dot that pinpoint on the map where things are. That's generally what this does to students. Like, where is that student right now? You click on that dot and it'll say, student is in history classroom 122. So you can go to 122 and find the student if you wanted to counsel them or not. Next page. All right, so here's the general demographics page. It just shows some common information about the student. Pretty self-explanatory. Parent and guardian, the home phone. That's about it. Here's the contacts page. So this is a nice page because it shows who has custody. It's a little extra information, who the parent requests that the emergency contact would be. We also have a thing called no contact. So if there was an issue with the family, you would know that also. Here's a screenshot of a student's bell schedule. So it shows holidays and it would show all the classes. It would also show a secondary screen that shows the second semester. So you have to make sure as the year goes on that you're in the right classes, and depending upon what you're looking at, if you're looking to make sure the student is requesting the right classes to graduate, you might need to check in, you know, further down the list for second semester. Also the teacher, you could converse with the teacher if the student is having trouble. It would give the teacher name as well as the room number. That's that room 235 that you see on this page a lot. Next. Alrighty, so this is the same information. This is the student schedule in list view, so it doesn't show all those pretty colors. It's just a flat out list. If a student needs a schedule, this is probably the one to print out for them. It's just a more concise view. Here is a quick lookup page. I like this page. This is my favorite page. It shows the student and the last 2 weeks. So it would give attendance for the last 2 weeks. It gives the grades for the last 2 weeks, and a total grade of what the student is reflecting right now if the teacher is updating PowerSchool as they go. Historical grades. Historical grades page is a view of the students' grades. For if they're in high school, it gives their middle school and their high school grades. And it so you can check what the grades are, what the credits are, and where they're at currently. So as the year goes on, right now it doesn't show very much. It would only show any previous grades because we haven't stored grades yet. But if there were grades stored, that will happen in November. We'll have first quarter marking period. So you'll be able to see this year's grades. Log entries. Log entries is where we record discipline. So teachers are allowed to put in discipline, and it doesn't have to be like a suspension. It could be like school consequences. It could be just a conversation with the parent. So it doesn't always have to be suspension. And so this front page, you would see all the students listed here. And if you wanted to, you would also see next to the bold general disruptive behavior, if there was a description that the teacher put in, you'd be able to see exactly what that disruptive behavior is. Some, you know, depending upon what school and what teacher, you know, some might be trying to build a case as to student behavior. And so they might have, you know, very specific definitions and descriptions about what happened. So because they're trying to track a student's behavior, and others will just say, you know, disrupted the class, skipped, student wasn't able to go to recess or whatever. It could be that simple. And you would see that description. If you wanted to, like, that description space is only a number of characters long, maybe 200-300. If you feel like there's more to the story and you need to see it, then you need to click on the edit button to see it. And you would click on new discipline entry to create a new one. The new log entry only counselors have access to, so that's not available. SSP students is student support plan. So this is kind of a interesting one. You can use it for many things. Some folks will call because of discipline, for attendance. Maybe the student forgot his field trip permission slip. Many things. The attendance office uses this report quite frequently. The difference is that they want in the attendance to simply say, child had a doctor's appointment, left school at 11:35, did not return. But on the SSP, they want a more descriptive thing. So if you call the parents about this issue, about the student's appointment, maybe you didn't receive the note, and this is the student's 10th doctor's appointment, you might question, and maybe you'd ask the parent to provide a doctor's note. So if you're calling the parent about a note, then they want you to put it in SSP because that's what they're going to take to court. All the communication that happened with the student and the parents. So it depends upon what your goals are, where you put the notes. So on the attendance page, if you're looking, that's just a short, simple thing. If you're looking for more details and you're going to contact the parent or have a conversation with the parent, then that goes on SSP. I know that sounds kind of confusing. Do you guys get that? Like attendance, on the attendance page, there's a room for a comment. There's room for, like, I don't know, maybe 20-30 words. But the attendance office only wants to search one place when they're going to court with documents. So if it's anything lengthy, you need to put it in student support plan. You can just put a quick note in the attendance page. I hope that's pretty clear. All righty, is there any other questions on anything that we provided so far? This is a quick overview, and I hope that you can get some substance as to what PowerSchool can do. We keep it very broad because we don't know what you're going to be assigned to at the schools you're going to be working in. You could be doing attendance, you could be doing more detailed counseling work. So if you think PowerSchool can do something and you think that there should be an easier, better way, please don't hesitate to put in a ticket or have the school put in a ticket or talk to another employee at the school to find out what the easiest way to do things are. Because we can help you out with that. Either myself or Elise could do that too. Tori, PowerSchool. John, can you help Tori? She said that she can't log into PowerSchool.
Yes. So your accounts will be done soon, and then because you'll be able to log in, but until we get full notice of where you guys are going to be placed, then you won't really be able to see much. So yes, if you guys can, definitely have like supervisors put in tickets so that way we can place you guys all at the right school, get you the correct access so you can start working. Do we have a date when we should your accounts will be finished today. But where it comes to logging in, having the correct seeing the correct things, having the correct permissions, putting in tickets from your supervisor will will be very important for us so we can get you guys in the right place. Because I know some of you guys are returning, so we have to reactivate your accounts, and some people are new, so we are creating them.
You're not going to be able to have access to Power School until we get what school you're working at, because you
Yeah.
can't have access to the entire district.
Yeah, that's the real gist of it. So when it's not really an issue on your end, we still need that information.
John, we'll connect off base just to make sure what was communicated with security, because all of our members have IDs associated with their schools. So we'll touch base
Oh, that's good.
after to
Okay,
make sure
awesome.
that what was communicated with security, it gets communicated with your team as well.
Yes, thank you.
No problem. Does anyone else have questions? I want to make sure everyone has the opportunity.
That makes sense. Yeah, data warehouse is a separate account setup compared to Power School. While they are integrated, that makes sense. Like you could be able to log into data warehouse and not Power School yet. So that's yep.
Thank you.
Emails again are a separate thing. When you get your email, it means that your security is just beginning. You get the email first, and usually the following day or the day after you get Power School. Power School is the last chain when it comes to getting access. It's the last stop. So if you already have emails, then you should be getting Power School soon. Within a day or two, usually. Any other questions?
This training will be recorded, so if anyone that receives access to Power School has questions after, once they're looking into the information that they have at their sites, I know a lot of site supervisors help guide our members into utilizing the software, but if you needed another, training or questions, I'm sure at Springfield Public Schools, you've always been a great resource. I'm sure we can always do a touch base.
Yes, exactly.
If a group of you wanted to do a follow-up after receiving access to Power School, I'm sure we can try to coordinate something. As long as you communicate it, we can definitely ensure you're well supported to use all the resources at hand.
Raquel, I see your picture keeps flashing. I hope you're muted, so I'm not hearing anything. Any questions?
Hi, no, I don't have any questions at the moment.
Okay, great.
Okay.
All right. So it seems like we are all set. So if everyone can just stay on, I have a few updates. But thank you so much, Springfield Public Schools, your entire team, and the team that works on everyone's security and IT. There's a big team behind the scenes, so that way our members here can be at your sites.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep,
Thank you. I'm going to share my screen now to do the updates for the week or for the month. There was a question that was asked in terms of your IDs. So security, public safety at Springfield Public Schools received another email with everyone's site placement. So your IDs should be working. If your IDs do not work, as of Friday, honestly, it should have been working as of all of last week. Please check that your IDs can scan you into your schools. This will also grant you access to print at your schools as well. And if it's not working for Springfield Public Schools, please let us know. Please let us know, because that should have been remedied at some point last week when I resent the site placements for everyone. Good. If not, send me a message. I will read it.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm assuming everyone can see the screen. Okay. So for our monthly training, we have some nice updates that will benefit everyone here. First update is that we have a new assistant program director. Her name's Anna. She's actually right here with me. Let me just pull her to the side. Hello.
Hello, everyone. As Alicia said, my name's Anna Mojica. I've been born and raised in Springfield, and I actually went to Springfield Public Schools. So, I just want to congratulate all you guys for being in the program, and thank you for all the work that you guys are doing and will do for Springfield Public Schools because it is needed. The support that's needed at Springfield Public Schools and for Springfield College and the other colleges in the area being community focused, it's so important of what you guys are doing. I know, trading in the middle of the day may be hard, but we appreciate your time and everything you're doing. I can't wait to meet each and every single one of you guys. And I'm here just to support you guys. I'm here to hear out what's going on, hear your wins, and also the big things that you guys are going through. We're just here to support you and be of use for you guys. So I can't wait to see you guys. You guys are more than welcome to come into the office and say hi, get coffee, anything like that. But I'm so glad to join this team and to serve you guys, most importantly.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We are on day 1, and so we are figuring out laptops here at Springfield College and emails. And about emails, we actually have an update on that. So we also want to welcome, we have new members on our special group. Tyler, Sanaya, Sophia, Leslie, Olivia. A couple of you are already here on the Zoom call. Welcome. A few of you had classes that could not make it. But if you recognize any of these names, they are in the social work, mental health, school adjustment, counseling programs. Welcome them in your class. They are already serving at sites. Some of them are doing their orientation this week. And so if you are wondering why it was a bit busy here at the office, it's because we have new members joining us. So thank you for everyone's patience. And they all look forward to meeting each one of you in an in-person training as well. So we have some save the dates about trainings and events. Please note our next monthly training is October 16th. That is different. It's not the second Monday of the month because of Indigenous Peoples Day. We've moved it the following week. And I know a lot of schools are closed as well. The time will still be the same, 2 to 3:30. The theme for October will be small groups and establishing your cohort. By October, you should have a cohort. There are cases where you don't. We completely understand that. But we are going to connect the dots in October on what you should be doing in your timesheets. And you should be documenting the time with your students in your timesheet. So we'll be going over that, going over what you can be doing for your small groups and solidifying what that cohort will look like. And we can also answer questions as well. Now that is in person. It will be in the Learning Commons. The room is TBA. It's either second floor, third floor, fourth floor. Sorry, fourth floor. But we'll solidify that and send a calendar invite shortly. For those that are in our farther sites out in Central Mass, this will be provided as a hybrid for you to view via Zoom, as majority of our members will be in person. Again, if you are driving over an hour to get to this, get to our campus, we will have an option for you to do it via Zoom instead. That's for those that are driving over an hour to be at this campus. Now for November 3rd from 8 to 3 p.m., please reserve that time unless you have class during that time period. We are all taking a nice, luxurious coach bus to the Regis Lewis Center in Boston, and we are celebrating AmeriCorps opening day. For those that have participated last year, they are changing it up a little bit, and but we are still focused on celebrating AmeriCorps members. This is a required event. You cannot miss this event because you normally serve at your site. That day, members are not to report to their sites. Instead, you are to report to this training. It's marked as a training in your timesheet. So you are counting the hours from entering the coach bus to returning back to campus. So the transportation is also included. Those in our Worcester area, greater central Mass area, we can have a conversation in terms of pickup or in terms of transporting yourselves to Boston. We'll have a conversation off this meeting. And November 7th is elections here in the city. Why do we promote this? AmeriCorps nationally has an expectations that we should be promoting as a local program here, that your right to vote. So this is just a reminder that you have a right to vote. You have a right to be not at your site, but be able to get the opportunity to vote in your either in your towns. It happens to be November 7th. I'm just using the dates for Springfield. Now for November monthly training, that is canceled. We did this last year as well because we have November 3rd. Because there is Thanksgiving holiday week, we are not having a training in November. With that, we are providing the training in Boston. There is no makeup for that. If you cannot attend, you cannot. Unfortunately, we have no other makeup. It's not on Zoom. You're either in person or not. And our December monthly training will be 2 to 3:30. That training will be recorded. Same thing for October. We will record it for those who have classes, who have a reason that has been previously discussed with program staff, which is Anna and myself. So December 4th, that focus will be service projects and holiday blues for the youth. Please note, service projects are a required thing for the spring. Some of the members here had questions about it during orientation. Service projects is not a topic that you'll be reviewing until December because it's something that occurs in the spring. And that will also be in the learning comments, and it will be hybrid for those that are traveling over an hour. So you will be able to view on Zoom. Now, we have some questions that came up. We allow you to have service opportunities and count that as service in your timesheets. Just to clarify for those who are volunteering to do a service, to volunteer for a nonprofit organization, even for the college, if they're doing a day of caring, like cleaning up the neighborhood or maybe walking to gardening the community down the block. If you're involved in any of that, what I need to do in order to count that time on your timesheet, I needed to ensure that that's something that's programmatic, not a fundraiser. If you're being involved at a 5K for a nonprofit, that does not count. And that's an easier example to state. If you're helping out selling raffle tickets, that does not count for service because they're financially benefiting off of you being there. So the organization, someone from the organization just needs to send me that you, the AmeriCorps member or members, were participating from this to this time on X date. So for instance, if a group of you are participating in which one was it? Stone Soul Festival. If you had someone from that organization, maybe it was a different department on this campus, send an email of those names and how long the time was, time in and time out. We could count that on your timesheet. Now, for those that have no organizations that you're affiliated with, Springfield Museums, once again, has provided opportunities for this fall. This is optional. These aren't required. You are able to participate in the 4 following events that they're having. or maybe you have family you would like for them to participate in this, and you would like to volunteer. If you volunteer for any of these 4 events, maybe all of them, maybe one of them, you have to first complete a query form. Please email us at the AmeriCorps email. We'll send out these slides so you have them in reference. Email us, we'll send you the query form, and we will let Springfield Museums have access to your ID and the query form in a private link. So you don't email your private information. Please don't email your private information to Springfield Museums directly. We will handle that to make sure your information isn't compromised. So if you want to participate, you just have to fill out the query form first, and then you'll be able to be involved. Hopefully that was clear. And I'll answer questions as well at the end. And just reminders for timesheets. Please ensure if you do serve more than 6 hours that you do take a 30-minute break or lunch. This isn't like a question. This is a requirement. This is a new requirement for this year. So if you have 6 hours on your timesheet that you've served, I need to see a 30-minute break. And this will not count for your service, because you should be, during this break, away from doing any type of service. You should be able to even go to your car, get off the property if you like. This is your time. And this is under Massachusetts website for labor. And just a reminder, timesheets are always due on that Sunday night, occasionally Monday. And for those who want to receive credit for coursework, for coursework, I need a syllabus. So not a screenshot where your classes are, not a screenshot of just the first page. Send me the PDF or the Word document of your syllabus, and you can start counting time. For 900 hours, you count 2.5 hours. 450-hour members, you count 1.25 hours on your timesheets. Now, with timesheets, for a lot of you, you might be seeing pending or partial pending. Timesheets will be caught up in terms of staff approving. As of right now, from the first glance of looking through your timesheets, I haven't seen any issues. Please do not be worried. If your site supervisor approved your time, you have nothing to worry about. We are completing the rest of those this week at this point. And in terms of emails, for those that aren't Springfield College students or staff, I have access to your emails. I know what your email is. We're having a bit of an issue in terms of you having access to it. So you should receive either an email from IT with instructions, or you'll receive the instructions through me. I'm trying to clarify that with them so that way you can gain access to Brightspace. For those who have questions in terms of reviewing trainings on that platform for future events, for future trainings that you might miss, you will have that resolved ideally within this week, because I have been able to see everyone's email. So you are logged in with an email. So instructions are to follow. And that's all we had for reminders. I want to open it up to questions. You were told that you could not put that on your timesheet. Okay, so I can open up your timesheet. I just need to know, did the person know? Can someone send an email with your name? This was Nicole, sorry. Nicole, if you could send an email. Or if someone from that department that you volunteered with can send me an email. The day, the start and stop of your volunteering. And if anyone else was also involved, that they could put their names. If you want to
Hey, Nicole, can you CC me that?
Yeah. Can I just send you the list of everybody that was there?
Okay. MSA, Massachusetts Service Alliance, our partner organization, needs to see that email come from the department. So if you want to CC the person that was in charge, and then for them to respond, confirm these were the participants, that will be fine, but I need someone from that department. It's
Okay.
sorry to be a stickler. It is a required thing. That's why we're on Brightspace this year. Because YouTube views are not enough, as they told us. So at least on Brightspace, I could see when you logged in and when you clicked on the link. Okay. Once you send the syllabus, good question, you can immediately start collecting time. So for anyone that sent it last week and felt like you didn't add your time because you're waiting for my response, send me an email. I can open up that timesheet for you and you can add it then. Okay? Because again, anything marked under training, your site supervisor, they only need to approve service time. Training, we approve in the office. Will we meet up in the same parking lot? I am waiting. So the request is in. Public safety will let us know what lot we can use for that big coach bus. I'm thinking yes, but again, it might be different. Did I answer all the questions? How about a question for everyone? Are your IDs working to get into the schools? For some, not for all.
I still have to check mine.
Okay.
If
Thank you.
because I haven't checked it since last week. So
Okay. Okay. Haley, okay. Because I was wondering for returning members, sometimes it was getting mixed into last year's site still. So I'm glad to see.
I have a quick question. So my data warehouse is working, like it lets me in, but it's still set to my school from last year. Do you want me to send you an email or put in IT?
What I'm gonna do, I had already marked on my notes that I need to contact John Rodriguez, who just spoke from Springfield Public Schools. So I'll send him an email on what I sent to security for site placements. That list should have been already out to IT as well. But since it seems like, actually, Anthony, are you having that same issue?
I'd have to check. Power School wasn't swapped for me, but I put in a ticket to IT and they fixed it within the hour. So
Okay.
Yeah, my
I have to check data warehouse.
My Power School is fine. It's just now my data warehouse. So.
Yeah, I have to check data warehouse tomorrow.
Okay. It seems like if you put in, what John had stated is if you put in a ticket, it should be resolved. I'll also email him the list so that way there's two information, like two lists. One from you directly from that site and one that I've confirmed is where you're supposed to be. So I appreciate that help. If your IDs are not working with printers, just the front door, then we might have to put in a ticket for that because it automatically should be both. Okay. I received your message, Raven. I'm gonna send the list to John just in case they have a lot of staff. If one staff tells you that response or tells, we're just gonna go directly to the source that can change everyone's or give everyone access. Any other questions? These are great questions. No? All right. So if everyone could take the next 15 minutes, what I'll do, I'll stop the video.